This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City update on Tropical Storm Arthur, located well east of the coast of Florida, heading north, and it looks like this is going to be a situation for the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Here's the front page of Hurricane City, and I wanted to mention we have a new CaneTalk media player that is used at canetalk.com, our message board at Hurricane City, and tropicalatlantic.com, and this applet here, you click the play button, it gives you all the latest information from the National Weather Service out of the North Carolina area in the Outer Banks region, so to let you know what's going on in the area. And you can also zoom in on the tracking map here down to practically street level to get the latest winds and observations as Tropical Storm Arthur moves to the north. And when you click on Cape Canaveral over here to the left of the tracking chart, it takes you to the Cape Canaveral page where you can get the latest weather observations. And it's really neat here, the webcam that's right near the pier in Cape Hatteras here, off Cape Canaveral, Florida. You can see the surfers out here. They're getting some good swell action from the west winds that is coming in from Tropical Storm Arthur from west to east and causing the swell action. Look at the surfers out there. They're going crazy off the pier here in Cape Canaveral. All these cams can be captured on the current feature Cape Canaveral page at Hurricane City. All right, let's take a look at our animation of the radar of Tropical Storm Arthur. You can clearly see the circulation is well defined east northeast of Cape Hatteras that you just saw the surfers. In fact, they're getting some of the feeder bands here that are causing some of the swell action along the coast. In fact, the swells should get larger there once the system pulls away a little bit, because the winds will come due west, and that's when you get the largest swell action as the system pulls away. But you can see the eye is a little bit ragged on this system, and there's not a lot of deep thunderstorms around the eye. It's they come and go and they wane and whatnot, but it is filling in a little bit here, so we may see some slow strengthening here over the next 24 to 36 hours as this heads towards the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I wanted to go back to the front page of Hurricane City. You click the upper right hand corner play button. Tonight around 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be live with the Hurricane Watch Show, which we talked about on June 1st. We're going to try to do this throughout the hurricane season. When hurricanes are within striking distance and there's a watch out, I'm going to come on nightly discussing all the radars and radio feeds and satellite images and all kinds of stuff. And Bill Phillips will be on with me, and we'll talk as though we had no audience. We talk all the time on the phone, and we talk about various things about the tropics and all kinds of different subjects. So it'll just kind of be a unprepared type of a show tonight. We'll just let you listen in on what our thoughts are on the tropics and all the stuff that goes on in the hurricane business as this heads up toward the Outer Banks. So I think you'll really enjoy it. We'll do it probably tomorrow night as well, and then once the system, if it's going to make landfall in the Outer Banks, which would be on Friday, we'll do the hurricane warning show as the system is making landfall, the landfall show, and that's only if it's going to make a direct impact. Right now it looks like it's going to be a glancing blow for the Outer Banks. We'll have to see about that. All right, here are the best performing intensity models, and the best performer on the intensity is the ship model. It's only been about 3 knots off on average, and inside the circle here it shows right around 80 knots as it makes landfall right near the Outer Banks. That would be right around 90 miles per hour as this passes near the Outer Banks of North Carolina. If this model pans out, it's been the best performer so far. Now, as far as systems in the past that were similar to this system on the same date and the same grid, in other words, it developed in the same exact place as Tropical Storm Arthur, only 2 of them come to mind. The 1909 hurricane that developed on July 5th just north of Grand Bahama, that hit the Outer Banks of North Carolina as a Category 2 hurricane. And then the only other thing that's close to the date would be July 5th, 1959, Hurricane Cindy. Of course, that made a left-hand turn and came into South Carolina. We're not expecting that. So the most likely track is the 1909 hurricane. And this link can be found right above the tracking chart. Just click on this area's hurricane past, or the area that's the system developed that's nearest to the history of all storms that developed in that same location. And this is updated with each storm. Alright, what is the best performing model so far on Tropical Storm Arthur? Well, it's the NGXI model, and it's been off by about 114 miles, so none of the models have really been that good early on in this system. But this track takes it right over the Outer Banks as a hurricane here, going, and this would be a bad case scenario, worst case scenario for the Outer Banks, a system coming in just west of there and then the water fetching in from the southeast. But if you look down here at the bottom of the picture here, the track of Arthur, the current track is a little bit east of the NGXI, so if you extrapolate that, it would take it probably right over the Outer Banks or just offshore the Outer Banks. But so far the NGXI is the best performer on this, and of course these are subject to change all the time. This is just me going through all the models, figuring out which one has performed the best out of all the models. Alright, let's take a look at a visible shot of our system, and you can see the visible shot from NOAA. The system looks really well defined. It's beginning to wrap up nicely, and I think once this starts paralleling the coast of the United States, this is really going to wrap up and become a hurricane, because it won't have as much shear from the northwest to deal with. It'll be running parallel to the shear as opposed to directly towards it, and that'll allow for some strengthening. Now here's the HurTrack program, and the closest point of approach to the Outer Banks would be at 3 a.m. on July 4th. Now, if this happens, there will be no landfall show at Hurricane City, because the system, you can see the core would clearly be east of Cape Hatteras. That's not to say they won't get some gusts of hurricane force, but if this track pans out, this will not be a direct hit for Cape Hatteras. And this may even shift further east in coming runs. We'll have to see about that. In fact, if you go backwards on this system, and you see how it comes up from the southwest, passes about 80 miles east of Wilmington, and then passes about 55 miles east of Morehead City, North Carolina, and then 24 miles east of Cape Hatteras. That's shifted a little bit further east from the last advisory. So that looks like the closest point of approach as of the way things stand right now. So anyway, that's it on Arthur. Tune in tonight for HurricaneCity.tv, the Hurricane Watch Show. I'll be live for a couple of hours starting around 9 o'clock up until the 11 p.m. advisory. And then tomorrow night we'll be back again live on HurricaneCity.tv talking about Arthur. And then we'll have to see if it's going to make landfall for July 4th. But there's a very good possibility that this could be a glancing blow for the Outer Banks, and there may even be a possibility that there could still be some fireworks displays up around some of those areas impacted on July 4th evening, because this will be pulling away rapidly. Alright, well that's it for now. We'll be back with another update in a couple of days as this approaches land, if it approaches land. That's it for now. Thank you for watching.